I think we can start. Emily, please let me know if I can start. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for such an amazing conversation. We are gearing up towards the Big Baraza that is coming up, and we're very delighted to be having a series of conversations that will give us insight into what to expect at the Big Baraza this year. This is our fourth Big Baraza, and we're very excited to have you on board. A few house rules before we begin. Please make sure you are muted. We do not have a chat feature on this platform, but we do have a question and answer section. So you can utilize that to ask your questions to the panelists, and the moderator will pick them up throughout the session. The session is going to be just an hour, and we're also streaming on YouTube as well. For those who are joining and would like to share, please make sure you share with everyone else to join us on YouTube as well. Emily will share the link to the YouTube as well on the question and answer section of this webinar. My name is Wendy from the Sandbox, and we are very delighted to be hosting you today. So just a quick session, quick overview, just to tell you what the Big Baraza is about. The Big Baraza is a conference for SMEs by SMEs, and that is the experts we work with at Sandbox. And we come together to bring together different stakeholders within the entrepreneurship space, from government entities, investors, ecosystem enablers, and we bring them together to discuss various issues that affect entrepreneurs and how better can we serve the entrepreneurs. At Sandbox, we are a home to about 33 to 35 businesses that whose core value is to support entrepreneurs in various areas, from marketing, who is Rima, and she runs RD marketing at the Sandbox, to HR, PR, customer experience, finance, accounting, you name it. We have all of it at the Sandbox, and we'll be very happy if you visited us for us to help you solve your challenges that you're having in your business. We are currently located at CMS Africa House along Chania Avenue in Kilimani on the ground floor, and you can visit us any day. We are open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and you can send us an email at karibu@sandboxgroup.com. We'll be very delighted to assist you and work with you on your entrepreneurship journey. So as I had mentioned earlier, for those who have joined us a bit later, this platform does not have a chat feature, but it does have a question and answer feature. So please utilize that to ask all the questions possible, and the moderator will pick them up and address the questions together with our panelists for today. And I'd like to introduce our moderator for this evening. Our moderator is Rima Marketing, the marketing expert of the Sandbox, and she is the CEO and founder of RD Marketing, a firm that helps startups and SMEs with their marketing needs. She is also, again, as I mentioned, the marketing expert. With over 15 years of experience in the corporate world, Rima established RD Marketing in 2019, and her expertise is in marketing strategy, marketing training and coaching, reputation management, with a keen focus on content marketing and customer experience for her entrepreneurs and for the businesses that she works with. She has also been a trainer for a few of our programs at the Sandbox, which include Impact, Bizel, and currently is a trainer for AfriLabs, the YAC program 2023-2024. Thank you so much, Rima, for accepting to moderate our session today. And I'd like to hand over to you, who you will introduce our panelists for this evening. Once again, this is a conversation for the Big Baraza, so please make sure you buy your tickets today on bigbaraza.co.ke, and we'll be very excited to host you. Thank you very much, and over to you, Rima.
Good stuff. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much. This is a delight to be here and to moderate this wonderful panel today that I have. Yeah, it's thank you for also being here, everybody. I can see some really good turnout, and of course, all the people on YouTube who are watching us. Welcome to this wonderful webinar session. We'll be here until 8:30, and if you have any questions, please feel free to put them on that Q&A if you're joining us on the webinar Zoom link, or it's a Zoho link, sorry. Or if you're on YouTube, please feel free to put some questions on there as well, and we'll be monitoring that. So like Wendy said, my name is Rima. I'm the founder and CEO of RD Marketing and the marketing expert at the Sandbox. and delighted to be here. So I'm going to start off, of course, just to remind you that today is like, how many days to? Like less than 7 days to the Big Baraza. So it's a big deal for us, of course. This is a Big Baraza being our annual event. And so, of course, we're delighted to do this. This is a conversation that we're going to have in and around unlocking business success with technology and knowledge. So strategies and opportunities for businesses by unlocking technology and knowledge. As you know, Big Baraza is all about the movers and shakers, it's about game changers, it's about people innovating and thriving. And we're here to actually talk about all of these items together until about 8:30. So to start us off, we have two wonderful panelists. We've got Tom Macau, who's our technology consultant. He's an enterprise and system architect as well, and here at the Sandbox International. And we've got Mark Chiarie, who's a co-founder and COO of Chapter. I'm going to introduce each one of them. And so when I do introduce you, please just say a quick jumbo and anything else you want to say quickly. And so let me start with Tom. So let's say Tom is a highly experienced technology and business consultant dedicated to helping customers make impactful decisions across their technology consumption lifecycle. And his expertise encompasses planning, designing, acquisitions, operations, maintenance, refresh, and retire. Anything technology, pretty much, he's the go-to person, right? And so we're going to hear from him on quite a bit. His accolades are big. Notably, some assignments that he's done is operations and service design for a $64 million 10 megawatt capacity data center project, advising the government of Kenya, World Bank. There's so many different things that are coming up over here. Kenya, Ethiopia, Djibouti one. We've got that he's a consultant with Communication Authority. He is also working with the Malawi government and so on and so forth. As you can see, there's so many different things. He's also worked with Highway Africa, MTN, Liquid Intelligent Technologies, and Nokia. So you can see how much depth of knowledge in terms of technology that he has and he brings today for this session. Tom, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Everyone, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
Great, Tom. Excellent. Then we've got our wonderful Mark Chiarie, co-founder and CEO of Chapter. He says, I'm a designer, I'm a builder, and a problem solver at heart. So his passion is technology. So it's so funny because when I was reading his bio, he's an architect and he studied in University of Nairobi as an architect, but then he's in the technology field. And we were bantering about this, that I'm in technology and I'm in marketing. So I studied technology. So I did telecommunications and IT, and I'm in marketing, and he's an architect in technology. So bizarre things happen. You may also relate to that, but some of his accolades is he's had over 2 years of experience as a co-founder, leadership skills, strategies. We have an amazing opportunity, he says, to leapfrog in Africa and create value for 100 million SMEs around Africa. And that's how he's also been able to, he's worked as design consultant at Bookerton and Partner Architects. And let me see, skimming through this, there is a really difficult university name here, but he's done resilient design for that. And yeah, and here he is, again, a technology company who's actually come to discuss a roundabout topic. So Mark, something to say to our people?
Thank you for that, Rima. Stellar introduction, and I'm really looking forward to our discussion today.
Fantastic. There's a few things that we've also connected with Tom as well as with Mark. Just to give you a bit of background, which I thought was really delightful, was that Tom and I are born and raised in Mombasa. And the other one that I told you about, you know, is studying something else and doing something else. So this is the thing. This is the thing. So I'm going to start today's conversation and deep dive directly into it around knowledge as power. So let's say in today's competitive landscape, why is staying knowledgeable crucial for business owners? And I'd like Tom to take this one if we can. Tom, we can't hear you.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Hi. Can you hear me? Yes, sorry.
It's
Yes. Thank you
breaking
very
up
much
a
for
little
the
bit.
introduction and the question. I think
Go ahead. I can hear you now.
hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
So saying that thanks for the intro and the question on knowledge being power. I think looking at it from the point of view of a business, how a business operates, there are decisions that are made that are usually informed by some insights, which of course people want to call wisdom. And these insights are usually informed by knowledge, which is again informed by information and data. So the basis of any organization is the data that comes in and out of the organization, the information that can be inferred from that data, the knowledge that can be inferred from the information, and so on and so forth, up to decision making. So the reason why the focus is on knowledge, maybe just to define what knowledge is that I would look at knowledge as the ability to conduct an activity or an action with all the relevant information points available to you. Yeah. So for you to make a knowledgeable or an informed decision, you'd need very many data sets or very many data points for you to make an informed decision compared to not making an informed decision. So looking at knowledge, the reason why it's power is because it is one of the things after we have just been able to organize our data. We've just been able to organize our information. Now we are moving into what everyone is calling it artificial intelligence and the likes. So this is an additional layer above these two existing layers that can be automated and leveraged for faster decision making in any organization, and that's why knowledge is being viewed as power in that context. There are many other ways to look at it, but let me just go to that example as an example of why knowledge is actually power, and this can be applied anywhere in your normal life, in a business, in institutions. Yeah, I don't know if that answers the question.
It does, definitely. And just a follow-up question to that, can you give an actual example, maybe just one or two examples of that knowledge is power, in the SME context?
Yeah, sure. Looking at it from the SME context, there are some areas in your business operations. For example, if you look at how your business operates, it's heavily dependent on knowledge, both implicit and explicit knowledge. Yeah. So there's the knowledge that is in the processes that are laid up in the organization. That's not easily inferred referred to. There is the knowledge that is in people's minds, the experienced people in the organization, the experienced people in whatever.
Okay, I don't know. I think maybe we're losing Tom. Maybe we'll come back to that example in a few minutes. But Mark, maybe we can do a segue. Oops. All right. Sorry. Yeah. So I don't know. Hang on. 1 second. Let me just a segue quite quickly because there's a bit of internet issues on that side and I can't quite hear him properly. So for you, Mark, would be how can technology help us to stay ahead of this knowledge curve?
Yeah, thanks for that, Trim. I think great question. So I think to answer that question, I'd begin by a quote from one of the best CEOs in the business, the CEO of Intel. He used to be called Andy Grove. And he came up with this quote, which was, "Paranoia will save you." So as a business owner, as a founder, just staying paranoid of like what's going on around you will actually enable your business to succeed and last for a very long time. The reason why this is important is we all know that the market is changing every single time. You can imagine, in the 90s, like the internet was a big disruption. So if you're in a business that was in pen and paper and you were not paranoid enough of this new technology that's coming, then, it was almost inevitable that you'll go out of business in a few years. And the same thing is happening now with what we're seeing with artificial intelligence. Just like in the, early 1990s, it wasn't really obvious that the internet would be a big deal. I feel like right now it's not really obvious to everyone that artificial intelligence is a big deal. It seems like it's just a hype cycle right now. But fast forward, 20, 30 years from now, then probably what we know as the internet now in the future could be artificial intelligence. The way now you have an internet company and every company has a website, maybe there's a future where every business is powered by AI in a way. So I think just being on the cutting edge and understanding the times, understanding what's going on in technology can really give your business a competitive advantage, because you could merely just win by becoming an early adopter to new and upcoming innovations and technologies. So I think it's extremely important to just lean on the cutting edge and ride that wave, not ignore anything and stay paranoid. That can really help your business succeed.
Great, I love that. And I think it's really, really important. You're right. From where we have gone, like I remember one of the conversations that we had is like just around about the, the early 2000s probably, right? And we had started getting like the mobile phones coming in, and this was like such a different, weird space. And you're like, oh my God, we have these big Motorolas and the Nokias and stuff. And look at where we are right now, right? Just that leap of technology where we were sitting at a cyber cafe to then find a little bit of information. And now it's at the tap, it's like on our phones, right? And it's just a tap of a button, or like right now, you go to Gemini and you put something in and you get a bunch of information, and you're like, wow, how did this just happen, right? And it just gives you a bit of like flow to your thoughts, for example, or the fact that I'm saying that technology for learning all these knowledgeable information. So like, for example, I think we'll dwell a little bit more into it, and I think I really love it because one, because I have a tech background, but two, because I'm also a business owner. So like for me, it is, I want to know what is this tech that people are talking about that I can leverage as a business to make me the game changer, right? So then how do I thrive? How do I make it better? How do I make my business more effective? How do I make more money? All of those kinds of things kind of come up as a business owner, right? Just checking, Tom, if you're back. Just keep on unmute yourself and just tell me if you can say something. Then I can see if you're back.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. Yes. Great, you were saying
Yes.
something and I couldn't hear anything at all. So I just jumped to, but you can finish your conversation around the example.
I was actually giving example of knowledge, how knowledge is power to SMEs by saying that the identification of the knowledge sources within the organization, be they people who have some tacit knowledge that can be codified in the organization, or processes that have some implicit knowledge that can also be codified in the organization. And this codifying happens in a platform like an ERP tool. In the ERP platform that an organization adopts, an SME adopts, it's not just to use the platform for the general operations of the business. It is also to codify and store knowledge, organizational knowledge, or institutional knowledge through the processes and workflows that are set up in an ERP platform. So an example is the adoption of ERPs or systems by SMEs is one way in which knowledge can be harnessed and enhanced in an organization. Because in an ERP system, you collect basically the data, what's happening within the organization, the ins and outs of your purchases and sales, the ins and outs of whatever transactions you engage in. That is data, which can then be managed in an ERP platform for accountability purposes, but also for the purposes of creating a source of information, a source of data from which information can be extracted by the SME or the organization.
Okay, I love that. I'm actually writing notes around this as well, because in my mind, the knowledge and all that data is kind of like what we do online when we look for information. But things that you don't realize is processes, people, transactions, all of that is a knowledge source, right? And then now that can be put together to then create something of that can be analyzed to make better decisions in the business. Am I getting that right? Okay.
Correct.
Fantastic. Love that, Tom. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to jump into finding out from Mark, coming from your background in architecture. So how's your experience been influencing your approach to designing and developing commercial tools for online businesses in Africa? And of course, maybe say something around chapter on that as well.
Yeah, thank you for that, Rima. So yeah, I think that was one of a very interesting transition. So just like Rima said in the beginning, I studied architecture in the University of Nairobi and University of Pescara in Italy. And I was working for then the largest firm in Africa called Ugatman and Partners. However, while I was still in school, I knew like I wanted to venture into something that's not architecture, and tech was a space that really drew me in. But then coming from architecture, it's a very creative field that builds sort of like your right side of the brain, where you're very creative, you're problem solving. But then to build a tech company, you need to be very analytical and do most of the things that Tom just mentioned now, like how you're able to like assimilate data and turn that data into action points that can be able to drive growth for your business. So two very different skill sets. So I think just building Chapter was these two worlds coming together, because one, Chapter assists businesses to be able to leverage tools like WhatsApp, Instagram, and be able to have them be channels where they can generate more sales. And building a tech company from start actually requires very interesting skills. So one, you need to be able to ideally create something. So you need to empathize with the user, create something that will solve their need, which is something architecture and design teaches you really well. But then, what you need to start is really not what you need to grow. And there's this saying, for what gets you here isn't what gets you there. So once you've built something, you actually now need very analytical skills to be able to grow it. So things like, what features are your users using the most? what's driving the most value for your businesses, where are people getting stuck, things like this. So I think just having that analytical edge, which I actually had to work on really hard to get, has enabled us to be able to scale from, having 0 customers to now over 1,000 small and medium-sized businesses.
I love that. Over 1,000, and that's pretty brilliant. I think what you've said is bang on. Where you start from, and I think the most important part, which I think any business, whether you're in tech or not, is important, is that you keep improving, right? So get feedback from customers. Again, another data source, right? The knowledge is power. This is again coming from there. You get the information from your customers, what's working, what's not working, what is being utilized more, and so on and so forth, and then making those decisions on how to improve. Even as we speak, some of the platforms like we use all the time, like WhatsApp, Instagram. Just recently, WhatsApp actually changed a lot of different things as user experience, right? And they're also getting that information from, how maybe they're not going on this and they want somebody to go on it. So how do I move it around in such a way that it's actually better designed, right? So the design keeps changing and so on. And so we also need to keep evolving around that. And I love that is a great data source for to make the change. And also what I love, what you said, Mark, is that as a tech company, so if you're here and you want to create some cutting edge technology as a solution for SMEs, think about it in that way as well. So there's 2 ways. 1, you are in tech and you want to make changes. And 2, you are in business and you want to utilize techs like these to make a difference for your business to thrive, right? Maybe say something about that. I don't know, like if that makes sense, or you want to add something to it. First Mark, and then Tom.
Yeah, I think building for small businesses is something which is quite lovely. I think I always say we love the customers we have at Chapter, because our customers are, very hungry, ambitious entrepreneurs as well. So it's a very hard task to create something that will impress, another business person who's also brilliant. But when you see the value of just assisting them to generate more revenue, when you see the value of enabling them to grow, then it's extremely satisfying. So one thing which we're doing at Chapter is seeing how, if this business is making, say, $15,000 a month in revenue, so that's maybe like 2 million shillings in revenue, how can we be able to 1.5x that, sort of like grow that revenue by 1.5x? And we look at, okay, where is this business selling? If they're a retail business, how do they sell on WhatsApp? How do they sell on Instagram? And how can we be able to make that more efficient and ensure that no sales slip through the cracks? So that's really the promise which we have for all the businesses who are at Chapter. And once we hold ourselves accountable to that promise, we work with them to ensure that they're able to get that 1.5x in sales that they really desire. So it's something that's extremely satisfying. It's very hard because not everything goes according to plan all the time. You could have the best solution in the world, but then there's still a few things which you don't quite understand. Just going back to Tom's point, like you don't have all the data points yet. But just having that culture of seeking knowledge, talking to your users, understanding what's going on in the space can help you narrow that gap and provide the value you want to provide more easily.
I love that. Tom, anything to add to that?
I think it makes good points. And what I would add is from, let's say, an SMA point of view, there needs to be care to ensure that even as you adopt technologies, you focus on what activities within the technology adoption cycle that are of great value to you. So if you're a small SME, do not focus a lot on building the infrastructure on the cloud. Get a service maybe from, let's say, Chapter, that a SaaS platform that they provide a tool that they run for SMEs. So you get a subscription from SaaS platforms. That way you abstract as much as possible the technology aspects of trying to build something that works. Yeah. So the adoption of technology, or even the use of technology by SMEs and businesses, should be viewed from the point of view of undertaking only those activities that are of much value to you as an organization. So if building hardware is not something that is of value to you as a marketing agency, then do not build hardware. Do not set up servers. Do not write software. Just get a subscription service from a provider, a third-party provider, and that will enable you abstract as much technology away from users as possible. Yeah, so that's what I would add in terms of the adoption of technology, that adopt software as a service more fast, as opposed to adopting technology from the foundational setup, like setting up hardware, writing your own software, running your own servers. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally get that. Like right now, I'm a marketer. Yes, I have a tech background, but I'm not going to sit around doing code to try and get something like for my business to be running, right? For my processes to be flowing and so on. And for that matter, like my business and several other businesses who are listening today could probably not be in tech. They probably have a product, they have a service and so on. Could you recommend maybe some tools or technology points, one, to gather knowledge so that they can be able to then analyze it for making decisions, or two, for actually improving their processes? Because I'm actually hearing more of that as well, right? Like Chapter helps and one part of a process to then improve the business, right? So any other such technologies that we can be able to hear from? And maybe Tom, you can take this one.
Yeah, not to mention any vendors as such in the webinar, but the way you need to look at it, if you're adopting any technology or platform, is first you must have a plan that defines your adoption journey. What is of priority to you? What do you want to prioritize in as far as your business requirements or objectives are? For example, very many SMEs today are adopting ERPs to counter the theft and pilferage of goods. Yeah, so it is an adoption of a platform to solve a particular problem at that point. So there must be a problem that whatever you are adopting, whatever platform you're adopting is trying to solve. Don't adopt for the sake of adoption. Don't adopt because your competitor is adopting. That's true. Yeah. So identify your priorities, what you need to solve as a business. Even you're an SME, one of the key issues now is tax compliance and documentation for taxation. So you need a platform where you can be a platform that is accountable. So an ERP tool is trying to prevent theft on one hand, and on the other hand, it is also a tool that is helping you become compliant. Yeah. So that is the path that every SME should use in terms of trying to adopt technology, and avoid a situation where you adopt something because it's the latest, or it's a hype, or it's in the news a lot. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Just because it's news doesn't mean it's the right tool for you. Figure out and check what is the thing that you want to have as an objective, and then suss out what is the best tool for you, because there are different kinds of tools out there. I think you're completely right about that. And I mean, obviously, we can't have time to go into each and every one of these tools. And it's great. I just want to remind everybody who's listening, whether it's on YouTube or on this webinar tool right now, that we are having conversations or pre-conversations to the Big Baraza. Big Baraza is happening next week on Monday and Tuesday, 2 days of our annual Sandbox conference called the Big Baraza. And these are kind of conversations we're going to have with these leaders, these change leaders, these game changers, and we're going to be able to get some little bit more insight into how we can be able to improve strategies for our own businesses as well, right? So if you haven't known about this so far, or you've just stumbled upon it, or you know about it but you haven't made the decision yet, I think bang on, go to the Big Baraza website. I will request one of the girls, either Wendy or Emily, please put the link on for the Big Baraza on the, I think it's called the Q&A, because we don't have a chat on this right now. Go to it, get a little bit more information. We have one of the co-founders of Chapter who's going to be one of our panelists and speakers at the Big Baraza as well. So I think that's super exciting. Tesh Mbabu is coming for this. Am I right, Mark?
Yes, it's going to be there.
Fantastic. So maybe again, just I'm going to divert for like a little bit of a second. What are some of the things you as Chapter are looking forward to from the Big Baraza?
I think one of the things we're really looking forward to is meeting all the small and medium-sized businesses in the community, and really just sharing some of the insights we've seen in the market with them that we believe will be really helpful. And one of them just being how they can be able to digitize social media. I think from Tom's point on how ERPs are helpful, because ERP helps you understand like your internal processes. Digitizing social media helps your business be able to grow. So one thing we've realized is people spend way more time on platforms such as Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok. Actually, TikTok is one of the fastest growing social media platforms in Kenya right now than any other platform. And it's imperative for businesses to catch this wave of where people are spending the most of their time is not really the internet, but social media. So the question should be, how can you leverage on social media to grow your business? How can you grow your audience? Ideally, have more engagements on social media. And how can you convert these engagements into payments? So this is some of the things we're looking forward to sharing, because we believe this is really going to be a game changer for every business, because, you know, a business like Nike or Adidas from the US and Europe are on Instagram, and that's the same Instagram that a business here in Kenya has. So the world is really excited to leverage on social media as a tool for growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. And I'm going to ask you a question just now, Mark. But one of the things I would also like apart from that Q&A section that we've put the website, I wanted to make sure that people know that that's where we also want to hear, what are your questions? What do you want to ask Tom and ask Mark, who can be able to help you to like the real challenges that you have around what is tech, how am I going to be able to leverage it, and so on. So feel free to please put those questions on the chat, and also the people on YouTube, please put that also on your chat over there. I don't know if it's a live chat or in the you know, the place where you put your comments, the comment section. We will look at those. We have a team of people who are looking at that, and they'll get back to us. So yes, please put your questions. I will be looking at that. Now, Mark, can you elaborate? You have challenges, unique challenges and opportunities you've encountered as you started up the tech company, right? And again, there are a lot of people with it as tech startups or as tech companies here. How did you address these as Chapter?
I see. I think very, very interesting questions. I think there's two ways you can be able to sort of like handle challenges that come your way. Number one is, how do you handle these challenges as a founder? And then how do you handle these challenges as a business? So the first one as a founder is, just reducing the things which you don't know. So I actually got some books here that I wanted to show you guys. So there's this one called High Output Management by Andrew Grove, and there's another one I'm reading here called Influence by Robert Cialdini. So the reason I'm saying this is important is you can only move with urgency as a business if you reduce the unknowns. So increasing the things like your business will probably grow from 1 employee to 5, 10 employees by the end of the year. So maybe you knew how to manage 1 employee, but you don't know how to manage 10. And you would spend your time, doing the actual work in the business when it's 2 of you. But then when you're 10 people by the end of the year, it's actually work to manage people. So just understanding that dynamic, understanding how you communicate to 10 people, which is different to communicating with 1 person who you spend the entire day with, is something you need to learn. And if you're not constantly seeking out this knowledge as a business leader, as a founder, as an entrepreneur, then you will find it very challenging when your business starts to grow, despite growth being a good thing. The second thing I can say that helped us navigate challenges is just being data-driven. So when you're really small, you can move with instinct, like make decisions on the fly, and they tend to work. You can do a lot of try and error. But as you grow and you have, more employees in your business, you have more customers, you really can't just make decisions on the fly like that. And your decisions should not be instinct all the time. They need to be data-driven. And if they're data-driven, you'll need to employ some tools that enable you to see the data. And sometimes what the data shows you and what you believe is different. So you might really like this particular product personally, but it's not the product that's moving the most in your market. So I think just leveraging on tools that help you see the business with a sober eye will help you navigate a lot of challenges and will really set you apart from your competitors or any other business that wants to get into your space.
I love that. I actually really love that. And I think those are really, really treasurable items that you've actually mentioned. And I love that you broke it down as a business and as a founder, right? I think we keep forgetting because we wear so many different hats as founders, right? As much as, like, for example, you're saying COO, but I'm sure a lot of the duties kind of seep through, and you find yourself like kind of almost like doing HR work as well, and so on, and that's what I'm hearing. But I love what you said around decisions made by data, right? And how we can leverage data using tools. And there's so many different tools, again, coming back to technology, that we can be able to utilize for all of these things. But imagine an entire, and I think this one, Tom, I'd love you to take this. As a business and as an SME especially, how many tools should I use? Should I use one for operations, one for project management, one for, what is it? The client relations, one for there's so many different tools in there. Should I use like my entire business with 10 or 20 different tools? Maybe something around automation. I'll let you go for that one.
Thank you for that question. I think when it comes to tools, a number of tools that you need to use, I think you need to use as many tools as you need to get the job done. But then the danger comes in terms of how many is too many. As the organization grows, the portfolio of tools available for use in an organization usually increases. So initially, maybe as you start off, maybe you might have project management running on let's say a platform like ClickUp, or have your website running on Wix, or your finance running on QuickBooks. So you can have a variety of tools as you start off because of cost implications or maybe ease of use for some of these tools. But as you grow complex and bigger, as more people join the organization and the processes become more complex, it is always wise to try and bring together most of these tools into one platform, which is often known as the ERP, the Enterprise Resource Planning tool. So you can start off with a variety of tools, SaaS tools, which you subscribe online, but as you grow, you move into a centralized ERP, and that does one thing that is of importance, is that it consolidates all your data into one place. So the ability to analyze your data and crunch your data to gain insights and make informed decisions becomes easier, or becomes more achievable if you have your data coordinated and set in one place, in one tool, for example. Having said that, I do not mean that if you are supposed to adopt, let's say, an ERP, let's say Odoo or Zoho, in this case, if you're adopting Zoho, it does not mean that everything in your organization has to run within Zoho. You could have email, for example, running within Microsoft, and your ERP platform is on Zoho. You could have maybe your storage for documentation running on Google Drive in this case. But as much as possible, try to consolidate your tools as your organization becomes more complex. It also makes it easier to induct employees into the organization because there are fewer tools to be used. There are fewer points of failure if you have so many tools integrated to each other. The beauty of an ERP is that it has brought together all the variety of tools that a business needs into one platform, pre-integrated. So it removes a lot of pain in terms of trying to integrate a variety of tools from different vendors or providers. So that's what I would advise. And the fact that there's something that Mark mentioned in terms of them being a data-driven organization. I'd like to give an example of a customer who, by just analyzing their data, we were able to improve some of their performance metrics. So this customer was an online store. They have stores around Nairobi and have an e-commerce platform which we were running for them. And the data from the e-commerce platform and the ERP analyzed, and outcome of that is that we managed to lower same-day delivery failure rates were about 20%, where you buy something like a fridge and you say you pay an extra amount for it to be delivered same day. 20% of that wasn't happening in the same day. So that data was able to be analyzed, and what was found out was that because there was a lot of information presented to the people doing the dispatch, it made them make more informed decisions on which deliveries to pick and not pick. So if I have a fridge to deliver to Donholm, most likely I might go and deliver it on the 3rd floor because there are apartments on that side. So if I have a delivery set of 10 items, I'll pick what is easy to deliver for me as a dispatch person. So by removing some sets of information that was available to the dispatch people, for example, whether the house is an apartment or a bungalow, they were able to lower the same-day delivery failure rates from 20% to below 3%. So that's just an example of how you utilize data that is within your system to make informed decisions. Another example was how they were also able to use the same data to analyze the customers who come to their websites, to the e-commerce website, to browse items. There are those who were able to browse so many items but are not able to purchase immediately, or somebody is browsing a particular brand of items in your, on the e-commerce platform. So what happens is that with that information, they were able now to do follow-up calls with these customers to find out from them what is it they are looking for and how they can be served better. So analyzing the information from the website visits, from the e-commerce website visits, and the purchases that were done by the same people, gave the organization an opportunity to increase their sales by, I think, by 9 million shillings a month. by just doing follow-up calls from analyzing the data that was available to them already. Yeah.
And I love that. And I think that's really, really important. Again, coming back to knowledge source of customer feedback and customer information, right? And getting that feedback and analyzing that and seeing what's working, what's not working, how long did it take, how long did it not take. And then what I'm also hearing is that using that information to improve our processes, right? So for example, our process was X. If we added one more question to see on what floor you're going to be or whatever it is, or, you know, like you can actually improve the process in terms of how to actually say that we're going to deliver on the same day. You have the tools, you have the knowledge, you have the information, so that nothing else also falls through the cracks. Other thing is, and again, I think we've discussed this already, is how to improve our products and services, right? And I know that even at RD Marketing, we do that. When we were 5 years ago and where we are at right now, we are constantly listening to our customers, again, knowledge source, data information that we're receiving on how to improve, not just how we're also portraying ourselves, but how we're also giving service delivery to our customers or explaining it better. You know, like for example, we created a process flow to show how our market audience strategy works. And as soon as someone sees that and we're able to explain it, they're like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense, because they're not a marketer. So like if we're saying jargon, they're not going to be able to understand it until it's actually simplified for them and shown into like a little infographic, if you will. And maybe that is what you need. Or frequently asked questions. Again, something like that comes up for us quite a bit. The same questions are asked over and over and over, and you're not putting it into a video explainer or you know, the FAQ section, or making it part of your value proposition from the start. So then that way that question is eliminated altogether, and then we're going to the next part of the you know, conversation to purchase, for example, you know. So again, that helps to improve your business. You're on that level to thrive a little bit better as well, right? Loving this, and I wish we had, I think, maybe another hour to carry on with this conversation. But we have about 5 minutes remaining. And again, I just want to remind people that this is a snippet, okay? A snapshot or a snippet of what is going to be happening, better, longer conversations at the Big Baraza, to actually get more insights into how to improve your businesses, network. Tom is going to be there. Mark is going to be there. I mean, walk up to them and talk to them and say, hey, listen, I listened to your webinar and I want to have a conversation with you. Is there something that we can talk about? Is there something as peers that we can talk about as well? I know in the past, Big Barazas have had partnerships that have been created from different brands just from that Big Baraza. So there's so many things that and opportunities that are lying over there. Again, if you haven't done that, go to Big Baraza, get your tickets, and let's see you actually on the Monday or the Tuesday, or both days actually. You'll get masterclasses, you'll get panel discussions and things like these, like your keynote speakers. What else is? I mean, there's so much more, so much more to go there by. So as we're winding up, I think I'm going to ask certain questions around future. All right. So both of you are going to help me answer this question. What are we envisioning for the future? All right. Whether it's in e-commerce, it's in technology, knowledge, information, looking through your, what they call the looking glass, right, into the future. What does that look like in evolving, you know, the Africa landscape? I don't know, Mark, do you want to start?
Yeah, I could start. So one thing which we're very excited about and we see is the future, especially here in Africa, is just the power of social media as a tool for small businesses. And this is just because of the sheer inclusion that social media platforms include. So we even realized that across, like rural Kenya and rural places in Africa, people call Facebook the internet, right? Like the internet to us is like, like a search engine. You can be able to go to any website, but like in rural Kenya, like if you're on Facebook, if you're on TikTok, they actually call that the internet. So I think there's a lot of power there in assisting many of all these millions of businesses who call these social media platforms the internet, see it as a channel for them to just grow their business, generate more sales, and build their brand. So that's one thing we're seeing as a future. And two, of course, we cannot ignore artificial intelligence. Just because, with the internet, we're able to get, infinite capabilities to get knowledge. And with artificial intelligence, it's like we're getting infinite intelligence. You can be able to just draw on so much horsepower as an individual, as a business, and do things that you're not previously capable of. So that's really what we're seeing for the future, and we're super excited to create it and co-create it with the many SMEs that we'll be able to partner with.
Love that. Thanks, Mark. Tom, what's your looking glass? What's through your looking glass? Ooh, okay. There's something else, Mark, that you said. Okay, sorry, Tom's back. Can you hear us? I think he's frozen. Oops. Okay. Yeah, there's something, Mark, you and I were discussing and in and around AI. And there's a really interesting perspective that you gave to me. This, if you can repeat that, I would love that, because it was in and around, of course, AI conversation, but the way you put it was really profound. If you can just repeat that part. I don't know if you remember it.
It's just, the internet gave us infinite knowledge. So, you could be seated in Africa and you could learn on something that's happening, in the US, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia. And I feel like AI gives us infinite intelligence, right? So, a small boy could be 5 years old, but they can be able to just learn anything through AI. And you could, be a marketer, but you can just go to ChatGPT, Gemini, etc., and just learn about, building rockets easily. So it's infinite intelligence that we're unlocking in this next wave, and it's super powerful.
It is super powerful. I mean, imagine a life like right now we're at websites. What else is going to be there, right? At the, maybe not even a touch of a button. We already say that Google listens to us, but imagine now the AI part, and then how that would look like. As soon as you think about something, you have a delivery of I don't know, whichever phone that is at your doorstep just by thinking about it. I don't know what that's going to be like. So that's super crazy. Tom, are you back?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, I lost connection a bit. Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, so I think for me, the future, I agree with the sentiments that the future is exciting, and there's a lot of there's going to be a lot of leverage on AI systems. However, the approach that I'd like to take on predicting the future is that the future is going to be very social. In as much as we are going to adopt AI, the future is going to be very social. So there's going to be a lot of social media platforms used in the near future, and also in the mid future, like in the next 10 years or so. We are looking at what is known as ubiquitous computing, where now computing moves from the screen to the environment that we live in. That's going to be powered by IoT, that's going to be powered by 5G, and now we'll have a lot of data sets now to input into our data, into our platforms as businesses. Yeah. So ubiquitous computing will enable more data to be collected from the environment by businesses and by individuals. And this rich data set will be able to help in making more informed decisions that the business can make that would normally not be possible without the harnessing of the power of data. Yeah, I think the future is very bright. The ubiquitous computing, AI, and social, the world becoming social, the internet and the technology use, even the interface that we use technology is becoming social. There is a lot of chatbots. There is, if you look at customer service now in Safaricom, you can be able to get support via WhatsApp. Yeah. So that's where the future is heading, and there's a lot that entities such as Chapcha can do or are doing to build that future, and we're excited to work with them and partner with them even as a sandbox.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. Thank you so much, guys. One of the things I remember that Tom had mentioned to me was we're talking about the digital transformation, right? So that's a buzzword that everyone's using, transforming through digital spaces, digital technologies, using technologies to improve your business and strategies, to achieve your objectives even faster, for example, or better, or more effectively. But the word that's coming up after that is digital maturity. So it's digital transformation leading to digital maturity. I mean, there's so many different things around that. We just need to figure out how, even as a first step. So the first step, if you're completely out of sync and you don't know where exactly to start, you know, this is the place. These are the places where you'll find the likes of Tom and Mark. Like I said, you'll be sitting on the same table, and you'll be able to have these conversations, and you'll go away with something for sure that's going to help you improve your businesses, connect with innovators, and so on and so forth. So I absolutely love this. If there's any question, I know we probably don't have time for questions, but you know, thank you so much, guys. I don't know, is it a parting few words you want to say before we hand over to Wendy? Anybody, jump in.
I think for me, I'm excited to meet the attendees at Big Baraza. So looking forward to meet everyone who will be attending the Big Baraza. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, yeah, excited to meet everyone. I think my parting shot would be, yeah, just keep pouring into your business. You know, a business is a living organism, and it will take care of you.
Oh my God, I love that. I absolutely love that. So movers and shakers on YouTube, movers and shakers on the webinar, thank you so much. We'll see you guys at the Big Baraza. Stay tuned, follow our social channels. You'll get more of these. We're doing this on a daily basis leading up to the Big Baraza. Wendy, on up to you. Tom, Mark, thank you so much as well for being here. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Zoho, also for actually hosting us on this webinar platform. And see you all and have a good night, guys. Wendy, on to you.
Hi, Rima. Thank you so much. You did such an amazing job. I've learned a few things here and there, and I'm very excited to be seeing everyone at the Big Baraza. Please make sure you buy your tickets today on bigbaraza.co.ke, and let us see you at the Big Baraza. Over to you. Thank you so much and have a lovely night.